Okay, let's see how this looks. I'm just going to do a quick test. Recording at 1920 by 1080, 30 frames per second, and 20 megabits per second quality. Settings, so there it is. So let's see if this text works out. Right there, 30, 20. It was on 5, and it was on square, so we'll see. We get better widescreen effect for sure. Off, you don't want that. Okay, let's go from there, I guess. It's fire up immersed. See how it looks inside. Last night I had some Wi-Fi problems, so hopefully it's better now. Great job, my controllers over here. Oh, that was faster than last night, that's for sure. Hey, my spot's still here. Well, it's moved a bit. I'll grab a controller. Let's fix this. Read. And drag it up. There we go. Your hand works too, but it's better with a controller. Boy, I didn't want to do that. Let's push that back. Watch a video at the same time. Try that.
Was unlocked, and yeah, obviously we've got coverage planned for the consoles. But John, you've been looking at it on PC, and well,
it's quiet in the headset when you do this.
Biggest Call of Duty fan, but
hope this looks better for you guys.
Well, so
Wife said she wants one of these for something.
Like this, especially the campaigns.
Christmas time, I suppose.
Expensive.
Expensive.
Your brain a little bit, and you're just there for the spectacle. Because Call of Duty always brings the spectacle, and this year is obviously no different. I do actually like these campaigns. Like they are.
It's louder in the headset when you do that.
Anything, but it's a fun little.
Weird.
You know, it's a roller coaster ride, and it always showcases awesome visuals. And I've become increasingly grateful for them continuing to create these high budget campaigns, given that we have a lot of other studios that are focused completely on multiplayer, and they would never do something like this.
That's your area.
They have made some interesting changes. First of all, the opening mission, not to spoil what happens there, there's some pretty surprising and cool reveals in there, I would say, story-wise, which I liked. It's probably the best like intro Call of Duty intro mission I've seen in a long time. Like, it's actually pretty awesome.
Now it's loud, man.
And it looks fantastic. Like, the character rendering especially. So actually, before we get into the looks, I should talk about playing on the PC. Obviously, high-end PC here, 4090, you know, still 12900K. I just went max settings across the board, because why not? DLAA is used, and I actually tried it with FrameGen, because you know, I was getting it was in the around 100 frames per second without FrameGen, but with FrameGen, you just get that 100, and you get the exact match for your monitor. And it's first of all, FrameGen is at this point where you just show this to anybody and you say, like, how does this look and feel? I guarantee most people would not be able to guess that you're using frame generation at this point. It just looks perfectly native, especially with DLAA enabled. I mean, image quality is sublime. It's very, very close.
Does this work today?
Lots of options to edit as usual, including that interesting thing where they allow you to toggle between weapon motion blur only, or you can also turn on world motion blur, which I think is a really smart thing that Call of Duty has continued to do, where if you want full per object motion blur and everything, you can get it. But if you just want like the cool looking cinematic blur on your first person weapon, you can also have
TV
that,
up there,
which is great, because not everybody wants full screen blur. But yeah, so first mission opens up, great visual quality, character rendering top notch. Like, everything about it looks great. And then you get to the second mission, and this is kind of interesting because this is where they open up with what they call it, but you kind of get blown up in a cutscene, and then you start with your knife, and it's pretty much like what if Warzone kind of map was integrated into single player? and I actually don't know enough about the Warzone map to say if this is the Warzone map, but it does actually like let you run free. You have objectives. There's this big map. You have to initially scramble to get some weapons, you know, and then you're making your way to these different areas, and it seems much more open-ended than usual, in a way that I thought was interesting. And I actually like the idea of using aspects of Warzone in the campaign, and that's kind of what they're doing this time. I think they experimented with some stuff back in like the Black Ops 2 days, but that was not really, it was still small maps. It was just like letting you choose what you did on the side. But this is like actually a large open map.
Yeah, I think we're on the IW9 engine now, and I think that the thing people need to understand is that it is the Warzone engine is the campaign engine, right? There's complete unification across the board between campaign, multiplayer, and Warzone. So there's no reason why you can't have these more open-ended missions because the systems are identical.
Exactly.
I guess it's just a case that with the campaign, they can do something that's a bit more sculpted to that specific experience, which for me has always been the really interesting thing about the Call of Duty campaigns is that,
you said it.
Well, obviously,
here,
for multiplayer, they need to accommodate a wider range of systems. And the level of ambition has to be lower. But when you've got the campaign, which is more tightly funneled, you can just throw the kitchen sink at the player in terms of engine features and stuff. But it's really interesting to see stuff that they develop the campaign to produce something that we haven't really seen before. I mean, there have been big maps in Call of Duty right up to Vanguard and Modern Warfare 2, but this is different, right?
The big difference here is that even though it is still scripted and driven by a story, you're no longer constrained down what I would say is the Call of Duty tunnel, right? Because a lot of those missions are designed where you're running forward, there's always an objective in front of you, and you're basically hiding behind stuff, shooting dudes from windows and like along this path, and you're just moving along this path. With the open map here now, it's like, all right, your objective's over here. There's actually multiple ways to get there, and you're no longer just limited to shooting at the enemies from whatever predefined spot the map has to offer. You can actually flank them, go around, you can use different tools to get there, you can come from above. It actually feels more, it's almost like...
The curve, I'm not too fan of that curve. I think I can fix that.
Halo, right, it's still linear, but you had a lot more freedom in terms of how you approach your enemies. You're always on the move. You're not just hiding behind boxes. And this is still not as like energetic as Halo in that way, which Halo was all about commanding the battlefield, lots of melee attacks. This isn't quite that yet, but it definitely veers a little bit more in that direction in a way that I thought was kind of compelling.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm actually curious to see where it goes. I do have one complaint though. When it got to the open map zone, I noticed right away the textures on things started to look bad on like objects and items. So I dipped into the options menu, and there's this thing again where it's like streaming textures, where it indicates that it downloads textures from the internet while you play.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that wasn't working correctly for me, because like the world textures looked okay, but like all like the smaller objects and details and like even the weapons and like your character's like bandana were like quite low res, and there didn't seem to be any way to just force that to load. So I don't know. I need to explore that more, because aside from that, the actual like technical performance was really good. It does the pre-compilation step at the menu as it's done for a long time, and you just get into the game and there's no stuttering, no hitching, no weirdness. It just rolls smoothly at a high frame rate. It's just this one issue with the texture loading that I thought was odd. So
yeah, I was pretty sure that the streaming texture option was basically for all the MTX skins for
maybe
multiplayer.
it's not that then. But either way, like the texture quality, if it's not that, then something else is going on, because I pushed it up to the max in terms of texture quality, and it just, a lot of the smaller objects just look really low.
Not quite adept at this quite yet.
Design, I'm not sure
possibly,
yet,
or it could just be an early bug.
It could be a bug as well.
Still in the early access period, I understand. So possibly,
that's true. That's true.
Oliver, Oliver, what's your take on this on Call of Duty? Because obviously this week there's been a lot of bad news coming from Bungie about layoffs at the studio, issues with Destiny 2. There's statements coming from management about how they've let down the players and whatnot. And yet every year we have a completely different approach from Activision with Call of Duty. You get a new game without fail, which kind of, I think, always gives you the sense of a new level, a jumping on point, so to speak. And there's always this new campaign. And I'm kind of surprised, bearing in mind that Modern Warfare and Call of Duty are quintessentially viewed as multiplayer games, that we get these campaigns every year without fail, essentially.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting difference in model, because like with Bungie, I think one of the problems that you have there is you have a game that's out for 6 years, right? And that's a game that people build on, and there's so much content for it, and they end up deleting some content as well. But it's a hard game to get into, and there's so many complicated systems and things like this. Whereas even though Call of Duty is a much simpler game, I think, on a systems level, they're still releasing a new game every year, and that gives people a really easy jumping in point, right? With these new titles. And there's so much content in them, and obviously to do that you need to have a staff of maybe 3,000 or 4,000 people. But it's it's a very, I think, compelling model if you can staff that up and actually get out a new game every year with brand new content, something to please everyone. Like, I'm not a huge fan of multiplayer Call of Duty, but I do enjoy the campaigns. So you get a really good experience regardless of what you like.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, obviously, we're going to be taking a look at the console versions in due course, and it's great that you managed to get a good look at the PC version. But there are no ray tracing features, right, John?
No. The whole like a sponsored ad thing for this is like, wait a minute, that usually trot that out and this is ray tracing. But alas, as you pointed out,
that looks really good on here.
Use that to describe things like
So if you were to say, my monitor in real life is right here.
Which is a real shame because screen space reflections are used all over the place.
So that's like it's nice.
Nice because, we're looking up and down. Screen space
to a dark nights.
It doesn't look great. I'm not a fan of that. So, but clearly, I mean, consoles are obviously the target. Big target for these games, right?
One by one, stitched and solved.
They did that actually launch with Cold War.
Could
shadows.
Golden Fortunately for his roadside legion, he could be no more than most. Escape great back in the day. He read all these chapters once. It's fun. James, Gorth, Owen.
Cold War is obviously a Treyarch game.
Yeah, it's always really good. Like I think it's totally playable. Now, if I look at my screen, I want to show you something real quick here.
Basically, by all of the other Call of Duty studios.
I'm going to do a pass-through mode now.
I'm kind of a bit mystified as to why there is still this division at this point.
Get that off my screen.
But there it is. And
that's how it looks. I'm going to headset up so I can see better.
But the focus of the Infinity Ward tech team
is the same on the screen.
Pushing the envelope, pushing what you can get into 16.7 milliseconds of rendering time
compared
every year,
to
doing new things.
I'll put my hand here, one corner.
But they also need.
So that's how big it is on my actual screen, and you can see how big it is now compared to there. It looks exactly the same as my screen as it does here.
Trying to push these systems in a way that is scalable between generations still. And a good example of this, I guess, is the shadows. You had RT shadows in
I always pick this back in the day.
Cold War,
and you just rip.
But in Vanguard and I think probably the latest ones as well, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3. I haven't looked at Modern Warfare 3, but they have two separate shadow systems. They have a simplified one for the older systems, but then they have one that kind of gives you most of the bang for the buck that you'd get from RT shadows in terms of
James Locklear
and sharpness of the shadow.
James
and it is just for the next gen systems and PC. But I'm assuming they went for that simply for speed. It's probably was faster than RT shadows. But I'm hoping that they, at some point there is going to it just makes sense to target something
just looking this up and I realized there's actually
good example. I think of how DOSBox this case Launchbox, with shaders, because eXoDOS integrations works. And this is kind of like a 3D environment you can work with. Of course, in real life, you could have this as well. I have my 4K monitor on my left over here for real, and my ultrawide here. But I don't know. This is neat. For example, say you had a laptop, right? Oh, I like that. Get off my screen. Say you had a laptop, and you wanted to go to someone's house, or you want to go on a road trip, you want to go on vacation, or you could not afford an ultrawide monitor with another monitor inside. I bought this monitor years ago, and yeah, so it's a good value, and I like to have a 4K monitor, but honestly, I don't think I do. So, I'll give you an example. Let's go to Steam. This is, a bunch of, see how it looks here. Let's go to Excel. Just doing some work here on some things, but let's see here. Southwest, population estimates. Various work. Full screen, right? That's huge. Spreadsheet's gonna be huge, but this is zoomed into 100%. But you can make it bigger, right? Sure. I'm not sure what resolution, what scaling, but that's 100% right there. 115, 130, so forth. 45, right? And keep going 160. So that's pretty good. Immersed can also let you change the resolution of your virtual monitor independent of your actual monitor. So again, you can create virtual monitors. You have a headless system, right? And you can just boot it up, and you open Immersed your headset, and you basically just create virtual monitors any resolution you want and place them around your room. You put say you want Netflix on TV somewhere, create a monitor over there, put on Netflix, create the same size of your picture there. We go and put it in a slideshow of pictures, right? You can put that in your room. Likely it's possible to create new virtual environments. It'd be very neat if you can add in your own objects. It'd be cool. Imagine having a virtual PC in front of you. That'd be kind of fun. But I'm not there yet. But imagine in another 10 years from now. Holy crap. So anyways, that's DOS plugins there. Looks good. Let's try something else. Like let's just look up it's gonna be a long video again. But whatever. I know widescreen support for any DOS games. That'd be pretty cool if I find one of those. Yeah. Funny. Anyways. Sound canvas. Blackthorn, that was cool. It'd be cool if some sort of stereo effect would come out. Oh, that was a fun game. Crusader. Love that game. Didn't play this game ever. Loved the movie though. That was a sweet movie. We're into ultrasound, yeah. We had ultrasound back in the day. It was so cool to have that. Raptor. I think I have it installed actually. Do I? I do have it installed. Okay, I'm gonna jump back out. Play with. That's perfect. Yes. And we're going to go with ultrasound, of course. Wow. Look at that. It looks nice on here. Wow. Damn, that looks good. I love that. That's a good one. This is cool, too. This intro. Love this game. Played junior high school. Got to take a week course at a local city to us. I'm from a small town, and stayed at a person's house that had a computer, and they had this game on there, and it felt like that. I played Sharewell at home. You know I am. Dad, of course. I tried to find him yesterday and didn't make it to the bus. No moments for me. The idea though. Try something here real quick. One last thing before I go. Let's see what else. How big can we go? Does that work? I don't know. One problem with immersed modern games that runs at a low frame rate is if you were to try this quality free, which I have cocaine with stragglers. It's lower frame rate for sure, which does not as much their frame rates. So if you're after reading or upgrade, resize my video. Higher frame rates, increase resolution and bitrate. Might be okay. It's gonna beat the last boss real quick here. Pretty good. Quarters. Frame rate low. Feel. The jerking's good. Tell. Whatever. There's a screen something. I don't know if that was a small. It's probably the worst. Of course, the worst one somehow. Holy shit, this is. The bitrate too, immerse them, crank them up. Oh yeah, upgrade me, boy. I forget how to scanner, mega face shield, plasma cannon. Oh yeah, very expensive. Track meeting and sweet powers. this right. Shit, it's the time to play this game. Very cool. Oh, and actually, that's pretty cool. What's in here? Okay. Fini. How does the text look, wonder? When I look here, I can look anywhere on the screen. I can't see the whole thing, but I'm saying I can see everything in sharp as it's supposed to be. Pretty cool. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Curious to see how it looks in the video, text-wise. I can go higher bit rate if I need to, but that's what we got for now. Controller. So let's see how it goes. Adios. That's funny. Came through my speakers. This camera and